Yeah.
So it was. I mean, there were a couple decks that ran, but it was regenerate those obviously huge. So.
All right, our next one, World Breaker. I feel like Mike should be reading this one too. 6 generic green for a 5/7 devoid Eldrazi. When you cast this, exile target artifact, enchantment, or land. Reach. 2 and a colorless, sack a land. Return this from your graveyard to your hand. So, more expensive acidic slime. However, it's on a cast trigger, not it comes with the ETB effect. So, which helps you and hurts you. You can't recur it over and over again with an unburial rights.
Oh, but you can recur it over and over again.
Recur it by itself. Right. You can't blink it with the other guy. The
no.
Yeah.
That would remind me of Restoration Angel acidic slime. Oh, far too much.
The good old days.
the good old days. Yeah.
Does that mean you're a bad person, Morgan?
Probably. I don't think that was ever. I don't think it was ever in question.
I think Morgan has pictures of himself with those 2 cards in his wallet.
No, it's just like the Wolverine picture. That's just him looking at Jean Grey lovingly. It's just me looking at those 2 cards.
Oh man, I really want that to exist.
Someone will make it if they love us enough.
I like this as a Eldrazi mirror technology, where you can hit their Shrine of False Gods. That's the name of it, right? False Gods?
Temple of the False Gods.
Yeah.
Right?
No, that's not right either.
I don't know.
Anyway. Temple of the False Gods.
No, it was just Shrine. You're right. It is Shrine. You're right.
Shrine of the Forsaken Gods.
That's
Forsaken Gods. Thank you. One of the words. But you see it outside of that. Just as a mirror, you see it as playable against other archetypes.
Absolutely, and I mean, if you even looked at Brad Nelson's first iteration of Red Green, he had 4 of these slapped right in there. If you're playing 4 Kozilek's Return and you think Kozilek's Return is the answer, then you want the 7-mana Eldrazi that affects the board outside of the Kozilek's Return. Like, not only do I wipe your board, I hit your mana too. Possibly your manland, possibly your whatever it possibly could be. Oh, and then this also actively helps with your Oblivion Sowers, which is weird, but it does do that as well. But it hits permanents are also troublesome. Like, oh, did you, I don't know, Stasis Snare something earlier in the game? Oh, get out of here. You know what I mean? Like, I think this card is incredibly powerful, and it has reach, which one of the best ways to beat up on the Eldrazi decks right now is to hit them with flyers, with Mantis Riders, with dragons, because they play not very much interaction, and they have things like Jotty Offshoot and stuff that's on the ground, and it can't do much about it. So then you ramp into this guy in turn 5, and now you've set them back a land. You're blocking everything. If they do manage to kill it the first time, you get to bring it back. All right, and that's if you didn't have a Kozilek's Return that already wiped the board. I think this card is going to be, it isn't the best Eldrazi, but the role that it plays in conjunction with Kozilek's Return is going to make it a staple.
Okay. Yeah, Mike, I hate to say it, but you were right.
Oh, God, don't do that. Oh, God. What did you do? Now we got to listen to this for 15 minutes.
No, when we first talked about this card, I wasn't that impressed with it. I thought it was overpriced and wasn't going to be that impactful. But now we see the whole picture. It does a lot of extra things other than just coming down and killing, and exiling something. So it does, all the little things that you want. And really, I don't think it's going to be a ubiquitous card like in Standard. I don't think a lot of decks are going to play it, but in the ramp deck is going to be an all-star.
Absolutely.
So. Yeah, when we first almost not talked about this card, I was like, well, it's not on there. I like this card because it reminds me of cards of yesteryear.
Cards of future past.
But that could just be me, obviously. But now we see the whole set, and I'm like, oh, it wasn't just me. So, yeah, this card's sweet.
Nope, it's cool. I saved us from looking like idiots.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's the only one. It's the only one.
It's definitely...
That won't be the only one. You're a liar.
It's definitely awesome.
You're right.
Well, there's just so many things that this does hit that just demoralizes your opponent. And it comes down and it hits a lot of the same permanents that you're going to be hitting with Ulamog anyway. So it just happens a little bit earlier. It can't hit creatures, obviously, but that's why you're playing Kozilek's Return.
It's also why you have a 5/7 with reach.
Yeah, exactly.
So
you're going to be hitting things that you're going to be hitting later on. So it starts that train a little bit earlier. Also important, this does hit Sanctum Vugan, which you also need to have targets that trigger it. So this way you can keep the train a rolling.
Oh, good, another World Breaker? I don't mind if I do.
But But yeah, so very important. I really like this card. This is one of the best cards that Green has to offer. Makes sense why it's mythic.
Do you think this takes the Ugin slot then? There's really not many spots.
I think you play less Ugins for sure.
Okay. If they're playing 4 Ulamog, 4 Ugin,
but I don't think you play full Ulamog.
I think like Nelson's list actually had 2 Ulamog, 1 Kozilek.
Yeah.
But you're trying to play a lot of Sanctums, so you can go. The World Breaker finds them, so you can just tutor for them more consistently.
Ulamog's so good. I don't know if I'd play less than 3.
I think you play 3 Ulamog for sure, I think you're only playing 3 Ugin as well.
I think there's enough large spells in the format. Like, obviously, Ulamog's insane.
He
but
just catches you up so much.
But you saw Eldrazi have success with a a blue-green version of this that played only Ugins, no Ulamogs, and was pretty successful for a few weeks.
True.
So there's enough large spells in the format that you just have to have enough of them.
Yeah.
The down into the deck as it stands, and even if you look at Nelson's list, it looks solid, but he's playing 4 Jotty offshoots in the main, and so you definitely have a lot of things where you're just drawing air when you have to draw something impactful. So, but that's a ramp deck 101, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just know that sometimes you're going to have 10 mana and 0 things to do with it, and you're going to get smacked for 2 every turn until you die.
Yeah, it's super important to sort of acknowledge that Ugin definitely gets worse after the set comes out.
Aggressively. Some of the bigger aggro decks, it looks like, are going to be Eldrazi based.
Yeah.
So
Ugin is not that card that just I'll just draft your board. Then it's not going to be that catch up card. It's still going to be good, and it still deserves a spot in the green red ramp decks. But it's not. If you're going to be playing a bunch of ramp cards and a bunch of colorless aggressive decks, it's going to be you're going to be left wanting.
Too,
yeah.
So.
When you see that card, so that's why I'm pretty high on World Breaker amongst and Ulamog in general. Playing more of him over another card that we'll talk about that we've already talked about.
All right. So next card here is Nissa, Voice of Zendikar, which we've hit on. Obviously, a Planeswalker, green color or generic. It comes with 3 loyalty. Ticks up, puts a 0/1 green plant creature token onto the battlefield. -2, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. The -7, you gain X life and draw X cards, where X is the number of lands you control. I said early on that I was not excited by pretty much anything this card was doing, and I have now had it cast against me a lot, and I still do not care about this card.
Yep.
Every time it's been okay, it's because Gideon came down afterwards. So once again, Gideon is the good card. I've got to see it do cute things. I got to see opponents play turn 1 Oath of Nissa and then play this turn 3 off 2 planes. That was adorable, but it still didn't feel good. I had it ultimated against me. It didn't feel like the game was close. I'm going to draw. They drew 6 cards, they gained 6 life, and they weren't competitive in the game. Now, that's obviously not every scenario. You know what I mean?
You were playing a deck that deals 30 damage, though, right?
That's also true. Okay. But I think I don't know. It's we look at 3 mana Planeswalkers and we want them to be good, and obviously she goes up to 4 loyalty and protects herself. But what's she doing?
She really does pass all the metrics. She would be the first 3 mana Planeswalker not to be good. She protects herself, and her ultimate's. As you said it wasn't very good, but I think her ultimate's really good.
No, her ultimate is very good. What I'm saying, though, is that, the reason her ultimate is even going to happen is because you can just ignore her for so long. And
I guess.
I feel like she's purely support.
Right.
Every other card is going to be good, and then she's going to maybe get to ultimate because you had to deal with all the other good cards, which maybe that's enough. But how many slots can you devote to a card that just does so little to the board for so long?
I do agree she's probably support. I like her in a Bant deck with Jace and Gideon, and she's providing just blockers for it.
What does Bant do outside of that, though? You can get all the value in the world. How does it win the game?
I'm just making Planeswalkers.
No, I'm
not trying to win the game.
And that's fair.
We're not trying to win the game.
I mean, you haven't seen Bant value
fine.
at all because they don't have a consistent way to win the game or put pressure. You can play all these Planeswalkers. Jace and Nissa do not pressure your opponent at all.
Yeah, sure.
I think we're kind of looking at it the wrong way. I don't think looking at it oh man, if we get to this ultimate, it's going to take a long time to get to the ultimate. It starts at 3.
Yeah, you got to cultivate your garden so you grow all these plants.
Yeah. I think more often than not, this card is going to come down +1 all your guys, and then you still have a Planeswalker left over that can make some more blockers.
What turn are you doing that then, though, where you have a bunch of guys in play?
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever you want.
I mean, it's definitely
turn 1 Blister Pod.
Yep, that sounds good. That sounds like a great deck.
I mean, it's definitely not just a great standalone Planeswalker. It's definitely going to need some support around it. But I don't think it's bad. I just don't know where it fits right now in the metagame. So.
I don't think I'm saying this card is aggressively bad or terrible or anything. I just don't feel like it does enough. Now, granted, this is also my personal play style. Like, I never want to cast this card outside of a game of limited. I just don't want to. I don't like the things that it does and I like dirtling, but this leads to just like, okay, make another plant. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not a huge fan of that, but it could find a deck where it's good, but I think it's good because the other cards are good, which is like that pure definition of support.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it feels to me like on the spectrum of 3-mana planeswalkers, like this is closer to the Ajani Call of Pride spectrum.
I think Ajani's better than this card. I said that out loud. So
you did say that out loud.
If it comes back to hurt me, you can Dave me all you want, but I do think Johnny's better than this card.
I think
we end up in a world where this is $75 because she's rocking standard. Well, we're all going to be a little sad.
I think it falls closer to that spectrum than the other side. And when we look at Call of the Pride, he felt very much so like a support planeswalker as well, because you needed creatures for him to be like insane. Yep. So I feel like Nissa will be some of the same. I think the 3-mana planeswalker hype is real with her, and I don't feel that she is a bad card. I just feel that she is kind of a good card.
What if they
bring okay card?
What if they bring Persist back?
Sure.
Well,
then we could do that.
I'm all in.
All right.
Then that'd be really weird because they just had him dying in the previous set. So whatever, though.
Previous Innistrad is what it means.
No, it's fine. It's just flipped.
Gotcha.
It's reverse Innistrad.
Reverse Innistrad.
Mirror universe.
All right. Moving on. Let's talk about Nissa's Oath.
Dave, you want to trade? You want the next one.
No, you can talk about this all you want. I don't actually have a whole lot to say about this one.
Oh, okay.
Oath of Nissa is single green. What?
Go ahead. You do you.
You definitely, the way you said that definitely made it sound like you were cool with giving Oath of Nissa.
Oh, no. All right, yeah, go ahead. Take it. I don't care.
It's green for legendary enchantment. When this enters the battlefield, look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature, land, or planeswalker from among them, put it in your hand, put the rest on the bottom in any order, and you can spend mana as though it were any color to cast planeswalker spells. I think all the power in this card is in the first ability. The second ability is kind of just gravy that
every now and then you're going to be upset because you had a bunch of green sources and you couldn't cast your Gideon, and Oath of Nissa is like, shh, boo,
also
I'm
you
here.
do it. Man, this card, I feel like this card's really good. You were a little down on it, but
I'm not okay. I guess I'm not down on it. The card is very good, but like the people saying like this is like some like $5 ridiculous rare. I'm like, this is an okay cantrip, an okay cantrip.
I think it's a little bit better than okay cantrip. I mean, I like this card a lot in like the ramp decks because it lets you keep all the ramp spells are 3 mana, and it lets you keep those 2-land hands. And this is almost always, maybe it's like 80% to find you a land. And then if you draw one later in the game, you just get the creature instead. You can it digs you 3 in that green-red deck that doesn't have any selection. It gives that deck a unique...
And selection is powerful for sure, but it's also a deck that's playing a ton of Nissa's Pilgrimages, Sylvan Scryings, or Explosive Vegetations, Kozilek's Returns. So this card could easily miss on a card you desperately need, or just find you a land generically, because you're not playing that many creatures. So it's like saying, oh, later it can just find me a creature. Oh, later it can just hit air over and over again.
It does also hit Ugin.
And it hits Ugin as well.
Sure, it does hit Ugin. It also can't hit itself, so you're devoting 4 more spell slots to this card.
So the reason you don't like this is because you think it will ever miss?
No, the reason I don't like this is because I don't think I think it's really subjective that it's getting like if this card just gets you a basic it gets you a land and you're saying, oh, I could have just kept that land hand. It's like, well, you could just build your deck differently that doesn't have Oath and Nissa and just had more lands in it. Like, well, the selection's important. I understand it is, but
it goes on the same reason Thoughtscour is good. You want to play 28 land deck, but instead you play 26 lands and 4 Thoughtscours.
Sure.
So you want to play 27 land Eldrazi deck, but instead you play 25 plus 4 of these.
Okay.
And it's basically the same principle as, that.
Sure. I'm not excited about it.
I'm not buying into the hype, but I mean, so if there's a way to make Ruin in their wake good, I think it involves this card. I think that this is the other piece of selection that you need to make sure you have a waste and a forest on turn 2. And I don't mind this card. I don't know if the green or ramp deck will always need it, but it is an interesting way to look at that card. I don't think this slots into. I've seen this card cast so many times against me, and it just I just don't care. Like, it just doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, you're not gonna. I mean, it's like somebody goes turn 1, Serum Visions or whatever. You're like, okay,
but Serum Visions is much better than this card.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's kind of the same.
I think
feeling.
Thoughtscour is much better.
It's
than
just
this
like,
card,
oh,
too.
cool.
Same principle or not, Thoughtscour is a much better card than this because it does so much more work for the deck that wants Thoughtscour.
I disagree.
I mean, literally in Standard right now, you could pay 1 more mana and see 4 cards in.
Yeah, 1 more mana is a huge difference.
Yeah,
it is a huge difference. I totally disagree though because I don't think this effect is that strong. It's fine. It's fine.
It is fine. I agree with that.
Yeah, this is one of the more hyped cards in this set, and I don't really. I think it's a good card. Don't get me wrong. But
I played many Amiri's Guile back in my day.
Certainly,
yeah.
But every turn you get.
They are both
3 cards.
1 green enchantments.
Every turn. You can just draw whatever spell you want for this turn. It's Sylvan Library without getting to draw extra cards. It costs 1 green.
What card am I thinking of? I'm not thinking of Miri's Guile.
Miri's Guile is like you get to ponder every turn without drawing a card.
Oh, okay.
You get the top, basically.
Yeah, you get the top.
But you put
Anyway.
you put them back in the same order.
Miri's Guile is the same order?
Yeah, you put them back on top, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. In any order, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you just could value the rest of the game, man. Give me some Miri's Guile.
It's not value though.
But I get to know what's happening.
But it's like not value.
So I traded my 1 mana enchantment for a forest. I got value?
No, yeah, but you got.
I'm just gonna make him mad.
I hate Mike
no,
so
I'm
much.
just gonna make him mad.
Anyway, yeah. This card's sweet.
Don't let me win, Keller.
No.
No, if you're thinking about this card in the context of Modern, as much as I hate to say it, I think it makes the Bogles deck a little bit more consistent because you can actually search
only
for
run
more
like,
Bogles.
12 creatures?
They only have like
16
8.
creatures?
Right? There's 4 Slippery
Well,
Bogles
some of them
and
run.
4 of the.
Some of them run Ledgewalker.
Yeah.
It's 12 creatures normally.
Okay.
It's 8 Bogles and 4 core.
Spirit Dancer.
Oh,
yeah.
Spirit
Yeah.
Dancer. Yeah. Well,
So-
some of them run.
Oh, I'm taking it back. It's 13 or 14 creatures.
Yeah.
They played Dryad Arbor as well.
Yeah.
So this might help that deck be a little bit more consistent. Maybe you can keep some more hands that you otherwise wouldn't want to keep. It's still probably
it just
risky.
smooths out your draw a lot better.
Yeah.
It gives you selection to a color that doesn't have it.
Right.
To a deck that doesn't have it.
And I agree. And that effect is inherently good, but I'm just saying I don't feel like it's like I've seen people trying to hype this card as it should be expensive in Standard, and I think it's going to be really niche and be a fine role player, and that's it. You're going to be like, I'm happy I have this card in my hand.
Yeah. Sure, it's not going to be better than Ponder.
And that's how I
statements like that.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, people have been comparing this card to that, saying how good it is, and I'm just like, it's fine. Like that's. I guess I keep saying fine. Maybe that sounds more negative than I want it to mean.
It certainly is because
Hey guys, it's fine.
Seek the Horizons unplayable. This card more than playable.
I guess. I don't think they're that dissimilar. I was going back to the weird similar dissimilar argument from earlier, Dave.
Anyway, that was a long
It was
time
lost
ago.
on everyone.
All right, let me read another fine card. Sylvan Advocate. No, I'm just mad. 1 generic and a green for an elf druid ally. 2/3 vigilance. As long as you control 6 or more lands, this and land creatures you control get +2/+2.
Dave thinks this is Tarmogoyf.
Dave thinks this is the best card ever.
No, I never said that. I specifically said it's not Tarmogoyf.
This is the green time spiral.
No.
Go ahead, Dave.
All right. I've actually come down a little bit. Since my
We did it.
I do think it's still good though.
We wore him down.
I do think it's still good. So, a 2/3 vigilance for 2 isn't the greatest thing in the world, but it's not terrible. And I feel like Standard is definitely in a place where getting to 6 lands isn't a hard thing to do. Maybe in some Standards past that were a little bit faster. Yeah, that might be a problem. This one, I don't feel it's hard to get to 6 lands. So, if you look at it that way, it's a 2 mana, 4/5 vigilance. Again, it's not Tarmogoyf because it's always a 2/3 early on, and that's not the greatest body. But 2 mana 4/5 is pretty legit.
2 mana 4/5 on turn 6 though. Like only on turn 6, and that's the earliest unless you're playing it in a deck that has ramp effects.
Sure.
Like,
But it's
So you're saving a bunch of mana to get an okay cost of creature at 6. That's my issue with the card. I understand the land's ability on it is relevant, but two mana, or 2 mana 4/5, but it's so late in the game that you're saving mana that doesn't matter. That's where you're saving mana that doesn't matter, and now the card you drew when you have 6 mana is a 4/5 with vigilance, which is not
where I think you could see this card pop up is in Abzan. So a lot of the Abzan lists are running things like Air of the Wilds in the 2-drop slot, or Snapping Gnarlid, right?
It's certainly better than Snapping Gnarlid.
Right. So, I mean, this card is kind of on par, I'd say, with those cards. I mean, when this is powered down, when you don't have 6 lands. But, in this set we do get the black-green man land, right? So I think you could easily see Abzan lists playing, 26 plus lands. Maybe you run 4 Shambling Vents, 4 black-green man lands. And, those get powered up with this guy once you, get later into the game. I could easily see that happening. I mean, I don't think that's that far-fetched, so.
Yep, I see this as filler in the Abzan deck for the 2 slot. No, I mean, that sounds negative, fine, but that's where I see it.
Well, Air is legal. I want Air over this card pretty much all day.
You think? I mean,
Death Touch is so powerful.
Yeah, there's a certain situation where Snapping Gnarlid is probably better, too. So he's certainly more aggressive than this card.
Yeah, that's also true.
This is probably better than, an Abzan Mirror. Make your Shambling Vent a 4/5, right? So, okay.
You were really high on this card, and I'm kind of glad to hear that you come back down off it a little bit here. It it gets bigger later, but I just don't feel like Tarmogoyf being a 4/5 when it's
a 4/5 on turn 4.
But it's also if you draw it on turn 6, in most formats where you're playing Tarmogoyf, you probably won't even have 6 mana, and you still always need to play efficient spells because of the way the answers work in the format. That's not how Standard works.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. To your point there, I mean the biggest difference is I don't even think you can compare it to Tarmogoyf. I hate even mentioning them. In the
okay,
same
now correct me wrong. Dave invited that comparison first though when we first talked about this card.
No, what I said when we first talked about it was back when Tarmogoyf was in Standard, or maybe it might have been extended, but the next level blue decks would play Tarmogoyf, but just because it was a 2 mana threat that you could play and you could keep mana up to counter things or whatever.
Sure.
And I feel like maybe there's some similar style deck that you could build in Standard now. But like you said, I mean, you could get, if you're playing Modern, for example, you're not going to have that many lands in play. You can't play, this card is not playable in Modern, I don't think.
And to your point with that, and I know you didn't like this comparison, but I still think it's very apt. The deck that is playing with mana up and wants a threat like this, the turn comes late, is the Jeskai deck that was already playing Dragon Master Outcast. They could play a 1-drop that took over the game with 6 mana and could always leave counter magic up, and half of its counter magic also brought that creature back to play. Now, granted, that counter magic could bring this creature back to play, destroying the mana base to do so.
They get to play a color they want to play, red with removal instead of green. I get what you're saying with the extended next level blue deck where they just needed a beater so they would splash green for it. But I think you would just play Dragon Master Outcast instead.
Sure. So, well, put this as my sleeper.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Put this as the card that wins the Pro Tour because Abzan always wins the Pro Tour.
28 land, 29 land, 64 card Abzan.
The Pro Tour's Modern, so hopefully.
Oh yeah, not this Pro Tour. The next one.
The next one. All right.
All right.
The next one that won't have Siege Rhino, right?
Yes.
All right.
Next
one.
Bringing it back. Yeah.
All right. So let's finish up green here. A card I added here late, and I was interesting. I know Dave, you said I guess this card is getting a little bit of talk, but I thought it was
a little bit.
I thought it was interesting. It's Pulse of Marasa, which is a green and 2 generic for an instant. Return target creature or land card from a graveyard to its owner's hand. You gain 6 life. And when I looked at this card, I had to keep looking at it. I was like, okay, so it's a regrowth effect that's an instant, that's only 1 mana up from where it should be, right? But the gain 6 life, that's a lot of life for 3 mana. It really is. Now, granted, it has to have a target to be cast, so you could run into awkward situations where you can't do it. But this is a fine card, especially if you're boarding in if you're boarding in small creatures like the ramp deck boarding in Jotty offshoots to try and like stem the tide against the aggressive decks, and they kill your Jotty offshoot to get through, and then you're like, well, all right, get back my Jotty offshoot, gain 6 life. I think 6 life for 3 mana as an instant is really, really powerful. At least against the aggressive deck.
And
so
you bridge this into Nissa's renewal, and you just gained so much life the whole game. Yeah.
Your red opponent just like stares at you, and you can just see the hate in their eyes.
I mean, this is pretty good with, speaking of ramp decks, a lot of them are still playing Hangerback Walker post Oath of Gatewatch. So it's like, oh, you killed my Walker, I got a token, I'm going to gain 6 life and get my Walker back and just replay it.
I mean, worst case scenario, or at least for now, you're getting back a fetch land more than likely.
Yeah.
So.
Very true. Yeah. I
Doesn't
like
get back
this
Oath in this, so I don't like it.
All right. So I think overall, green is it has some interesting cards. It's getting a lot of talk. I still say that World Breaker is the best green card that they have in Oath of the Gatewatch. But we'll kind of see where it shakes out. But yeah, I'm excited to be playing some World Breakers when Oath hits. So. Let's go ahead and move into the gold section. And we'll start with Eiley, Eternal Pilgrim. And we already talked about this card a bit, so we can be a little succinct about it. So what do we think in the context of the rest of the format, how she kind of shakes out?
I think the 2/3 Death Touch is probably the most exciting part of this.
For 2 mana, yeah.
Yeah, for 2 mana, 2/3 Death Touch is just great.
Sure.
And the rest of the abilities are just gravy. I've seen a little bit in a few rally decks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like it there. I don't like that deck just sacrificing creatures for no reason. Like gaining life is kind of, in my opinion, no reason. You're really not going to turn.
You're
on
also
the
paying
Vindicate.
tax. I mean, the tax is important. Paying
Right,
one
one,
mana to
yeah.
sacrifice is a big
Sure.
deal. Yeah, I don't like this card very much. I think you also, for this card to see play outside of even the rally decks, Abzan could play it, but I do think there are better options. I'd probably play the 2/3 that we just talked about over this. You need allies to be good for this to have another shot at breaking through too. I think you really need to see an allies deck that wanted to have a little bit of reach.
Why allies? She's just a core cleric.
I know she's a core cleric, but I think you need like a smaller creature deck. Maybe it's the Black White Warriors deck. Maybe that's the deck that wants this. But I think you needed that deck that in all of the smaller white and black creatures are either Eldrazi or terrible.
Okay.
So that's what I mean by that. You know what I mean? I think you needed that aggressive deck that had some synergy with this, and it doesn't. So
Yeah.
no, I understand she's not an ally. I get that.
I think going back to my the rally deck discussion, I think she is actually good against Abzan because when they have an Anafen's on board, sometimes you just need a few turns to set up, and then she sits there and she holds back the fort. She doesn't let they might attack with her Siege Rhino and Anafenzo, but they're not going to just attack with one of them by itself. She buys you some time there.
No, that's a good point.
And it's nice to hit off of a collected company when they're not expecting it.
Especially during an attack.
Yeah.
That's definitely a way to get an Anafenz off the table.
Yeah, certainly.
This is a clean attack. No.
Yeah, I think I just think this is a really sweet card. It has a lot of layers to it. It's like at the very worst, it's 2 mana, 2/3 Death Touch, like we talked about, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, perfectly fine. That's insane. At very worst, it's just this great rate.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, yeah, the other abilities are gravy. It's just it's a sweet card. I mean, it's going to be a sweet casual card, commander and all that stuff. So
All right, I'm outlawing the word gravy for at least 2 cards.
As long as we can get rid of awkward too.
I haven't said that tonight. You back off. I haven't. Roll back the tape.
We can't do that right now, guys. No, I hate to tell you this. It's going to take a while.
When?
You're up to at least 5.
Oh my! No, there's no way.
Okay.
I'm expecting you to go back. You have to go back and actually count them and time
Yes,
them.
yeah, Superfan, go back and count all the times that gravy's been said. Anyway, let's move on to let's dive into some ruins.
Ooh, do I get to take this one?
You can go ahead.
All right, Jorian Ruin Diver. It's costs a generic blue and a red. It's a legendary creature. Merfolk Wizard, 2/3.
So is this sorry to interrupt you, is this the Lara Croft of the Zendikar world? I just wanted to establish that. Go on.
Text on this card says, whenever you cast your second spell each turn, draw a card. I'm pretty I don't know how good this card is, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty good.
Very distinct evaluation of this card.
Yeah.
I don't know how good this is. It might be good.
What I mean by that is I haven't actually played with it yet. But there's a lot of theoretical situations where it's sweet. I do think it will see play in standard.
I think it'll spawn archetypes in standard.
Yeah, like
I think
this card is great. Especially
you want to cast this and then cast a Fiery Impulse immediately afterwards.
yeah, I think a lot of situations are going to want to like hold this until you can cast another spell, so that even if it dies right away, you get at least.
It
some
feels a
value
lot
off
like
of it.
Monastery Mentor in that sense.
Yeah.
Right. And if it lives, much like Monastery Mentor, if it lives, they're probably not going to live very, very much longer. I'm also excited to try this out in Modern. There's a lot of 0 casting cost things and 1 mana things.
Do you play blue-red decks in Modern?
I've been known to play some blue-red decks in Modern. So, yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I've
I'm
never
excited
guessed
to experiment with this on Modern as well. So, I don't know if I would say. I mean, it may end up being one of the best cards in the set. It's really just a weird effect. I do like that you can trigger it on not only your own turn, but you can trigger it during your opponent's turn as well. So you could potentially be drawing 2 cards every turn cycle. So that's pretty cool. But the body is a little fragile, being a 2/3 for 3 mana. That's not a great rate, but if you get this thing rolling, then it's not going to matter.
Yeah. It's important to note that it's a Merfolk, so that's a relevant creature type for Modern and Legacy, if you really want to go that far back.
Even Wizard.
Yeah, even Wizard. You can discard this to Force of Will, just so you guys know.
You can, yeah.
So just
Or
in case you
Pirate-
had any questions.
Pyrokinesis as well. You can.
Oh man, it's a combo.
I do think it's important. People have said that this might spawn like a blue-red Merfolk archetype by itself. Merfolk getting to play Lightning Bolt and then this, so you can sort of chain. Like it's really cool if you get to chain your Silvergill Adepts into like another spell, and you're just like, look at all these cards I'm drawing. So that'd be kind of sweet. I also want to point out, and maybe this is for you and I, Keller, but the flavor text on this definitely tells me that she's going to get some sort of awesome Uncharted Realms, right? Like, she's like, all the other Merfolk are fighting the Eldrazi, but I know there's something in the ocean.
She's still diving.
Yeah, she's looking for something. So I look forward to reading about what it is that she finds, like whatever MacGuffin bauble that she gives to the Oath.
Lara Croft doesn't stop raiding tombs, man. That's what she does.
Yeah, I just like the implication that's like she's going deep. So you got to go deep to
Take the tomb out of the Lara Croft, but you can't take the Lara Croft out of the tomb, man.
She just gets back out there. All right. Who wants to talk about Reflector Mage?
I guess I'm next on the line here. 1 generic white-blue for a human wizard. He's a 2/3. When he enters the battlefield, return target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand. That creature's owner can't cast spells with the same name as that creature until your next turn. This card's been really good. I've seen this card in rally decks again. That's kind of just what I've been playing. Getting that Anafenza out of the way for 2 turns is nice. This card's just been really overperforming, I think, for me.
No, I agree. I've had it in the sideboard of the tempo deck I've been working with, and I've been boarding them, 2 to 3 of them in against even like Abzan.
Yeah.
And like, the bane of a tempo deck is a card like Siege Rhino, right? That gets to trigger. But now you can realistically out-tempo that when you're like, yeah, you're not going to cast it for another turn. It also makes so if you're boarding like Disdainful Strokes, it makes that card so much better because you can play a 3-drop that bounces the card and then be able to have your mana up the way you want to with board presence for, like, I have set Disdainful Stroke up so many times where they're going to play it on turn 4. I tapped out for a Mantis Rider on turn 3.
Yep.
I want to set that spell up, so now I have the time to do so, which is really sweet.
And I think against Abzan, it's if you're on the play, it curves out nicely when you get the bounce their Warden. So they've wasted all their turns and hit you for 3, and now they can't recast their Warden when they would play a land, play a 2-drop, and then 1-drop. They just can't do that.
Right. So yeah, I agree. I think this card is really good.
Yeah, it's a super sweet card. I'm actually surprised that they made this card. Mana War is kind of like an old school card that was very good. Yeah. And they kind of have tried to remake it a couple different times. I think the closest one was what was the one that cost blue
Aether
one?
Adept.
Aether Adept, and that one didn't really see play. The double blue
and they haven't reprinted that one in a while.
Right. But this one, easier to cast an Aether Adept if you're playing a blue-white deck, and they even added an extra toughness on there just for
Just for fun.
just because, yeah. And then it has it's Mana War plus. So yeah, I love this card. It's also awesome in my cube. I'm not sure if regular cube would want to play this, but maybe.
There's a lot
pretty
of
sweet.
good blue-white cards to fight over.
Yeah.
Sphinx's Revelation, Supreme Verdict, Brago.
I want
Attention
someone to bounce.
Sphere.
Attention Sphere.
Yeah. Maybe not in a regular cube, but if you have a common uncommon cube, it's pretty sweet.
I want someone to bounce a Gideon with this card. Just an active Gideon. I just want that to happen.
Like they attack, then you collect a company.
Yeah,
and
yeah. This needs to happen in Standard. Someone do that for me, because that'll be sweet.
I'm sure it will happen.
Oh, they're just like, oh, bounce a Gideon. You can't play it next turn.
That doesn't work like that.
What? Why
It's until your next turn, and if you collect the company on their turn,
Oh,
yeah.
well, it's not nearly as fun.
Well, they still can't.
Never
replay
mind.
It. They can't replay it post combat though.
Yeah,
That is true.
it's not as good as I wanted it to
Well,
be.
yeah.
It's still
They
fine.
can't. They can't cast spells. That's insane. Oh, all right, that's cool.
Still even all right.
These like weird, like fake British accent. They're like still probably
It's
good.
all right.
It's probably good. Governor.
Let's move on to another pretty all right card. Bill Paxton. Storm Chaser me.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Sword Chaser Mage. Blue and a red for creature, human, wizard, 1/3 flying, haste, prowess. And now we talked about this card a little bit last week. I've now had a chance to test the card a little bit, and it's performing very, very well. As a creature, as a 2-drop, it survives things like Kozilek's Return. It takes a while for your opponent to be able to fiery impulse it, and it grows outside of that card really, really well. This card just plays so well. Prowess plays so well, but playing it in an aggressive shell where you have things like even Titan Strength, you can just make this a 5/5. Just beating a Siege Rhino in combat with your 2-drop, you're just like, yeah, this is fine. I'm okay with all of this. So, and also interaction that's come up a couple times now. And so how well this card plays around the new hotness of spatial contortion, which we'll talk about that card in a little bit. But I've done it a couple times now where it's just oh, I'm going to give this creature +3 -3. I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to pump it in response, and now you're taking a ton. So it's aggressively cost. It's in the right colors for what it's doing. We've seen a number of cantrips we've already talked about. I think this card is primed to do well, not just in Standard, but I think Modern as well.
I don't know if you guys know this, but I've been known to play some blue-red decks in my day. No, this is just kind of the other blue-red card that I'm looking to experiment with in Modern. So
are you going to play this over? You can't play more creatures, right? You have to cut creatures for this. Cut Young Pyromancer for this.
So what I was thinking of doing is playing more of a blue-red prowess deck. So cutting the Delvers, cutting the Young Pyromancers, and playing more prowess. So basically Monastery Swift Spear, Storm Chaser Mage, Abbot of Carol Keep, Jorian, Ruin Diver, and then playing things like Gataxian Probe and Mishra's Bauble and stuff like that. More things that trigger prowess.
So essentially, he went to Patrick Chapin's house while I was sleeping and read his dream journal.
Yeah. But yeah, I haven't worked the whole deck out. But I mean, it's the shell is there. I think I don't know if it's actually good, but it seems sweet.
No, it definitely. If that shell exists, it's due in no small part to this card.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, card's cool.
Also, the foil is $15 right now. So if that tells you anything, then
Not shocking.
Well, I finally made the decision whether or not it's going in Battle Box. We thought it might be too good. $15 says it's definitely too good.
All right. Cool multicolor cards. Blue-red seems to got a couple good cards. So, I mean, this has to be Dave's favorite set. Past the one that Delver Secrets was released in. So, in a stride.
It actually took me a while to catch on to the Delver thing. I actually only played it in Standard for a very short period of time.
Well, you've certainly made up for that in Modern. Moving on, we have colorless. So, obviously, there's a lot of, just colorless cards that are in the set. Mainly big Eldrazi creatures and then some weird spells. So, let's go ahead and start with Eldrazi Mimic. No one's ready. Good. Good.
I read the last one since Dave's.
Oh, yeah. I had to scroll all the way back up to the top of the spoiler because we decided to do colorless last. All right, Eldrazi Mimic.
You can just
Cost
click on
2
the tabs.
for a 2/1 Eldrazi.
Real quick.
They're making Eldrazi of all shapes and sizes in this set. They're not just all giant things anymore. So we have a 2-mana 2/1. Whenever another colorless creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may change Eldrazi Mimic's base power and toughness to that creature's power and toughness until the end of turn.
So the comparison here is Renegade Doppelganger from Razi Eldrazi. The blue one did the same thing. When you play
Is
the
it the
creature,
0/1 or something?
oh yeah, it was blue one to cast it as 0/1. When a creature comes to play, this becomes a copy of that creature. That card took a lot to get to work, and that deck still was tier 2.
Yeah, this one.
But I maybe none of that's relevant to this card, but I just don't see this. This card fills the role of my Eldrazi deck needs 2-drops.
My Eldrazi deck needs a 2-drop that doesn't have a color in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, 2-mana 2/1 is not exciting. We were talking about 1-mana 2/1s being not exciting, but there are some aggressively costed colorless Eldrazi that we'll talk about here that could make this quite a threat. So it is kind of filler, but at the same time, it could be an explosive card.
I think it's nice
deck.
that it's too generic and it doesn't require the colorless.
Right.
I also hate this flavor text so much it makes me want to cry.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It's consistently inconsistent.
Wait, I get it.
I just this is a cereal tagline. You know that, right?
Yeah, it's magically delicious.
That's Milky Charms. They're consistently consistent. I don't feel like this card. If it just you play, it's just a pure role player. And it's in one deck. So, it is, I guess, the cutest looking Eldrazi. Does that count for anything? Kind of looks like a little anteater, eating some ants. What's his big and strong?
With eyes on his legs, yeah. I mean,
ignore,
Brood.
ignore the carapace.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Well, look how this lined up.
We can talk about my best bud.
Yeah.
Oh, we got Kozilek, the Great Distortion. He's 8 colorless. 12 minutes. When you cast him, if you have fewer than 7 cards in your hand, draw cards equal to the difference. Discard a card with converted mana cost X. Counter target spell with converted mana cost X.
He has Menace as well.
Yeah. He said that.
Did he?
No,
Did he say at the top?
He has Menace again.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's
He's
on to lose.
Very menacing. I guess I'd like this card more outside of standard. But
we'll just say
I have a Type 4 stack that loves this card. I think this card's great in Cube. I think this card's great in the modern green-red Tron deck. That deck consistently runs out of cards and just needs to top deck anything. And then you finally top deck your one spell, they counter it, you lose. Well, now you're going to draw a bunch of cards.
Yeah, I mean, and they can't really counter the effect of this. I mean,
Yeah.
It's a cast trigger, so even if they counter Kozilek itself, you still draw however many cards.
And if he gets
Which is fine.
and if he's in play, what are you going to do? You going to cast something?
You did.
Don't do that. Don't cast something. That's silly. Don't do
To
that.
be fair, in the blue-red Tron, or the red-green Tron deck, I'm sorry, there's they can counter 1 mana spells and 6 and 7 mana spells. That's all. All right, I hope
Well, you get 3s with Oblivion Stone too.
okay, great.
You get 2s with Sylvan Scrying.
So we have to make sure we draw only the full spread of so lands. So 1 land,
Right.
1 Chromatic Sphere,
Right.
1 Sylvan Scrying,
This is
One
the land
Oblivion
we live in.
Stone.
Kozilek just distorts reality till this always
1
happens.
Wormcoil Engine, 1 Karn, and 1 Ugin. And we have everything except for a 5 or 4 out of 5. See, we still got holes. You can still cast your Splendor Twin. No, I think this card is definitely going to see play in Standard too. I don't think it's better than Ulamog, but the same argument that I keep saying Blue-Red Tron for some reason.
Yeah.
The same reason that Red-Green Tron wants that 1 card that can draw, and you can Iron Ugin to draw, for 7. Well, this one you get to essentially Sanctum for if you need to draw 7. If you think that first threat is going to be good enough, like the first Ulamog is good enough, go get Kozilek first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do think he's worse than Ulamog in that Standard deck.
I agree.
Because he doesn't immediately catch you up the turn you cast him. If they have a better board presence than you, you're just going to die. The 12/12 surprisingly isn't going to matter, and he's not indestructible, so he's easier to kill. But everything you said applies. Having 1 or 2 of them in your deck is going to be great.
For sure.
I think at some point this time, this card definitely had hexproof on it, and it was just too good. Especially when we have the card that like removes indestructibility and hexproof, and also mentions both Titans.
Oh.
But one of the Titans doesn't have hexproof. It doesn't make any sense.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I think this card definitely had hexproof at some point in time, and
they
they were
just
like,
forgot-
"Oh no, that's way too good."
They forgot to go back and change the other card.
Yeah, it removes menace. It doesn't really make any sense.
Hey, you calm down.
I'm less scary now.
Same.
But maybe that just means that when whenever we see Emrakul again, maybe he has hexproof.
Emrakul's a she. You stop that right
Sorry,
now.
whenever
You and your
You
sexist
can't define
ways.
Emrakul.
Emrakul is referred to as a she in multiple times in battle.
In their limited view of genders.
All those tentacles have all things.
anyway, well, whenever we see her again,
What's the Futurama monster? The one that was David Cross?
Oh.
The tentacle monster that like was like in a relationship with everybody?
Yeah.
That's Emrakul.
anyway, maybe she'll have hexproof, and then everything will.
There
be
you go.
all right.
Thank you.
The beast with a billion backs.
That's exactly it. Which is a great piece of innuendo. All right. Next card is Matter Reshaper. This is 2 generic and a colorless for a creature Eldrazi, 3/2. When Matter Reshaper dies, reveal the top card of your library. You may put that card onto the battlefield if it's a permanent card with converted mana cost 3 or less. Otherwise, put that card in your hand. This card's got a ton of hype. I think it spiked up to $8 or $9, like, really quickly. And it's seeing a ton of play across the beta, so, like, people are excited about it. Any card that replaces itself is fine, with the ability to possibly do more than that. I've seen a number of people suggest that this is the best card in the set.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm sold on that, just because of the range. Like any card that replaces itself is fine, but because of the limitation on like what you can get off of it, it's not, it's somewhere in between. Like the Rally deck is a deck I've seen playing this a ton, which they've had to stretch their mana base, but they're doing it. But like it's somewhere between Elvish Visionary, Sultai Emissary. You know what I mean? Like obviously it's better than those, but like to say it's the best card in the set is a bit of a stretch for me. It does great things. Still gets super punished by Anafenza, and its body is not good for 3 mana.
This gets punished by the flaying tendrils.
That is also true. Hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought we were friends.
so this is both a reason to play cards like any of the enchantments that exile creatures. So like
Silk Wrap.
So Silk Wrap.
Snare.
Yeah, Silk Wrap takes care of this because it is a dies trigger, not a leaves a battlefield trigger. So, but you also may want to play Silk Wrap in the same deck with this because it could, flip a Silk Wrap when it dies.
That's pretty cute.
Which is kind of cool. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's the best card in the set. I mean, it's.
Can I just flip a Jeskai
I think
ascendancy to it?
A lot of the hype is coming from the modern deck too, where you get Eldrazi temples are just with this and the next the 4 mana thought. Seer
I don't think this is the card though. I think that's the card.
I think both of them in conjunction together, and you just have these ancient tombs that don't deal damage to you.
Yeah, it's true.
In modern, in that deck, it's going to be consistently a quote-unquote 2 mana.
Yeah, Wasteland Strangler, having played that deck a bunch of times, like against a number of decks, feels so bad in the main. And when it's good, it's obscene. Sure. But yeah, I definitely could see like that being the card that easily slotted out for this, obviously the next
Thought
one.
Not Seer,
right? Thought Not Seer, get it? I thought not. I'm not kidding. They designed it that way. I'm not making the bad joke. They did.
All right.
Did we want to note like Reality Smasher? I know I think a lot of people have start putting in. Oh, is he? I thought you said the next card, so I thought we were skipping over him.
It's on the list.
It's on the list.
Spatial Contortion after that too.
I guess that's true.
So Reality.
We've been doing this for a long time. It's getting late. My brain's not working as well.
Reality Smasher is a very apt name because it smashes people.
Is that the reality?
That's the reality we live in. Yeah. It costs 4 generic and a colorless for an Eldrazi. It's a 5/5, so it's 5 mana, 5/5 trample haste. When Reality Smasher becomes the target of a spell an opponent controls, counter that spell unless its controller discards a card.
Wait, that's not a downside. You said 5/5, 5 mana, trample haste.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a downside. It has an additional good side.
Yes.
Fun fact: first time I tried to kill this card on the beta, I forgot about the trigger.
Oh, whoops.
Definitely just used my last card. I was roasting it. I was roast, and it was it's
like,
trigger.
counter.
And I was
no.
and I was reading the trigger, and I'm like, I knew this.
Yeah, this trigger's disgusting.
Right click, concede game.
It's not.
Yeah, it says
it's not.
you will get 2 for 1
Yeah.
unless you
It's
crack
not target
Doom
this,
it.
discard a card. It's target this. If you don't discard a card, that's countered. Ugh.
Yeah, this card is gross.
Yeah, this is going to be the top end of the Eldrazi aggro decks if those become a thing. But
I think you play it in other decks too. You might just play this in an Abzan deck if you're just playing Pain Lands.
yeah, and I like the fact that this
How
is
many 5 toughness creatures can you have in that deck?
yeah, the fact that it costs 5, I think it lends itself a little bit better to kind of the maybe like Abzan that's running like some amount of Pain Lands but isn't really devoting like a lot of colorless lands to its mana base. Like you're not going to be able to devote too many just straight up colorless lands. But just playing, like 4 or 5 Pain Lands maybe is enough to like run a couple of these as your top end. I mean, this thing does a lot of damage really quick and is, a real pain to remove. So.
I think this also has a good shot of seeing play in any of the modern Eldrazi decks because this comes down on turn 3, consistently on turn 3, and just smashes. I mean, so hard. A lot of removal doesn't hit it. You essentially have to terminate it or path it, and then they have to discard a card. So, like any of the decks that are like the deck that's running terminate, like Grixis Control, they can't afford to keep discarding cards against this deck. Yeah. And this just hits so hard. It's literally always going to be bigger than a Tarmogoyf in that deck because that deck relies so heavily on Relic of Progenitus in the first place. Like. I'm so glad I really am glad I put together those cards for Modern when I did because like these cards being printed, I was like, all right, well at least if I want to play that stupid deck, I can do it.
Yeah, and like not to mention the Black X Eldrazi lists, a lot of them are just playing a ton of discard. So it's like, oh, yeah, you would really like to kill this. You don't have any cards to discard.
Yeah, Inquisition to you and Thoughtseize you the first 2 turns. Then I played this, so best of luck.
Yeah, if you don't have cards in hand, if you just have no cards in hand and this is in play, just hopeless. Your reality's been smashed there. Did it. All right, our next one, Spatial Contortion. 1 generic, 1 colorless, instant. Target creature gets +3, -3 until end of turn. Nameless Inversion's back. You guys have talked about this one, right?
It's harder to cast Nameless Inversion.
Well, depending on what deck you're in. Every card I talk about is 2 mana removal spell.
That's right. I got all the 1 mana cantrips. So
oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
I got all the good cards.
you got all the Planeswalkers.
Yep.
All 2 of them.
I mean, this card's fine.
No, it's something good. I think like there was so much hype in the beginning, like, oh man, this is going to change how decks are built, and like but we had that with Dismember, and yeah, Dismember really did warp a format for a while. This may or may not do that. The mana requirements are definitely more difficult than Dismember had, but whenever you open up a removal spell like this to colors that don't traditionally get it, it can be warping. I don't like format redefining though. What'd you say?
No, I think that happened. This was like one of the first spells spoiled. And I think that was before all the other removal came out that we knew we were going to get. LC play, it's great. I mean, not great, but it's good.
Yeah, that's what I feel with it too.
Yeah, it's good enough for standard.
The deck that can cast it consistently wants it is very happy to see it.
Yep, absolutely. And you never know when that blue-green part the Waterveil deck might need a removal spell. Who knows?
It's true. All right, man. See, I get the sweet one here. All right, so we're going to talk about Thought-Knot Seer. Man, this card is disgusting, right? So Thought-Knot Seer is 3 generic and a colorless for a 4/4 creature Eldrazi. When it enters the what?
I was going to say, it's so good you can't even talk about it.
No, it's got me all choked up. It was like, you going to talk about me? Thought-Knot.
Good job.
When it enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-land card from it and exile that card. When it leaves play, that target opponent draws a card. Which, the way that's worded is hilarious, because in the multiplayer games, it's just like, you exile a card. Oh, it died? You can draw a card. Different guy.
Different guy.
But no, this card is, 4/4 for 4 is already fine. Obviously, that trigger is disgusting, because the card you gotten rid of is almost always better than random card X. I mean, just 99% of the time it's going to be. Yeah, sometimes they're going to draw a good card off of it, but they still had to kill this thing.
But you get rid of the best card in their hand. And
right.
then they draw, like you said, a random card, which on average is going to be worse than the best card
It's just, man, and this card is easy to cast. Like, it really is the deck that wants to cast it. This card scares me. Like, this is the card that when my opponents, like, on the beta have hit 4 mana, and I'm just like, oh, God, don't have that here. Because I don't know if I can win if you have thought on this here right here.
Yeah, I mean, this goes in that green-red Eldrazi deck, too. Just give him more ways to fight control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I can see, I haven't played with or against this card yet, but I could definitely see it just presenting these really weird scenarios, or I guess these really lose-lose scenarios. So, like, say if you're holding, like, one removal spell in your hand and then they cast this, do you... So, no, this, unlike a lot of the Eldrazi, is an actual enters the battlefield trigger, not a cast, so it is in play. So it's like, do you cast your removal spell in response to the trigger, and then... You draw the card first, and then they get to exile a card, so they're still going to get your next best card out of your hand?
You probably do that just to kill the 4/4.
That's true.
Right.
This card also plays well, and I've seen people trying to do it with the Displacer, the Flicker.
Oh.
Because it's an end to the battlefield. And as Morgan has already had happen to him once, it plays with Mirror Pool.
Yeah, you can. They can copy their, Thought Not Seer in your draw step.
And make their own Vendilion Click.
They do. Except this Vendilion Click is a 4/4.
And, yeah.
Wow. And the card is exiled, which is so relevant.
Yep.
Like Jace is never getting no look at it. Modern Sapcaster's not getting no look at it. We're going back to that Wolverine picture.
Yeah, I think the trio of Thought Not Seer, Reality Smasher, and Matter Reshaper, those are kind of the colorless cards that require a colorless mana that will reward you for pushing towards having more like access to colorless mana in your deck. Like, you don't necessarily have to build your whole deck around them, but they're good enough to where like you could just throw these in like a normal deck.
Once you start playing 12 of those 12 cards, you start playing more colorless. Yeah, I like
right. But you don't even have to play all of them. I'm just saying, like, those are the 3 cards that will make you think about playing more colorless lands so that you can actually cast them.
Yeah, we give you discard in a color combination doesn't have it. Give you a big beater in a color combination doesn't have it. Yep.
I think Thought Not Seer is one of the best probably one of the top 5 best cards in the set, and it's probably my favorite card in the set. It's just super solid on all fronts. I mean, really, I think it's interesting too because the effects of it. We've seen similar effects, but not this exactly. So it's kind of a new take on the Vendilion Click style, I guess. But yeah, card is sick.
Yeah, card's very good. This feels closer to the best card in the set for me outside of like Kozilek's Return.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I think I would put Kozilek's for. I don't know. This one it's going to warp the format. Like you're going to have to.
Well, you can't really play around this.
I know I know it's just weird.
Wow.
I guess I don't know.
I don't know how it warps the format, but it's.
Yeah, I guess if you can't play around it, I get Kozilek's Return is probably more format warping because if you're playing a bunch of things that die to it, then it's like, okay, well, this isn't playable anymore. Or you need to adapt. This card is more just like in your face. It's just really good.
In your face. Thought Not Seeing.
Just poking his eyeball everywhere.
Yeah, but it's really good. Next card. Looks like we have a couple more. Is this the last one? Yeah. Warping Whale. This is kind of the colorless charm, I guess.
Yeah, this is the Eldrazi charm.
Yeah, so Warping Whale, it's an instant, cost 1 generic and 1 colorless. And you get to choose one. Exile target creature with power or toughness 1 or less. Counter target sorcery spell. Or put a 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Scion creature token onto the battlefield. This does some things well, but is a little narrow, I think. Being able to exile a creature with power or toughness 1 or less is pretty cool. It kills Jace. It's nice.
Okay, I'm on the multi-format all-star side of the spectrum on this card. I think this card is great, and this might be one of the top cards in the set, in my opinion.
I think
mostly it's eternal applications. I mean, even in standard, the least it does is kill Jace. But in like affinity, so all the things it does in affinity, It kills both mainlands in the mirror. The counter target sorcery is Creeping Corrosion, Shatter Storm, Shattering Spree. Does everything you want there. The 1/1 is useful in Affinity as well. Sometimes, like Jerry Thompson's been playing Tribute to Hunger to fight Affinity decks to kill Etch Champion. This lets you get a token surprise there. It gives you a week, in a turn, make a token, equip it with a plating. I mean, you're only probably attacking for 2 there because you have a plating plus maybe a Springleaf Drum or a Darksteel Citadel, but still, surprise attacker. I just think this card's great. In Tron, let's see, it exiles Deceiver Exarch and Pestermite. I hear that's a bad matchup for them. It counters Sowing Salt and the new one.
Crumble the Dust.
I hear that's good against Tron.
Yeah.
I just think this card's great.
See, like, the only issue I have with this card is it does a lot of things, but does it... I don't know.
I would main deck these in Affinity. It kills infect creatures and kills hexproof creatures. What does this card not do?
It does a lot of things. I just don't know if like all these things are what you want to be doing. Like it kind of does a lot of things like kind of poorly.
Everything you mentioned can be worth a card, and many times it cannot be worth a card.
Right.
And I think that's the issue you run into with a card like this. Like, it has so many options, but they're all sort of... Now, granted, I also said the same thing about Kolaghan's Command before. So
I just think this just covers the bases of decks, the weaknesses of decks that otherwise they could kind of cover.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly... it being colorless, and you can put it in really anything if you wanted it to, gives it it's a lot of flexibility. I mean, and for the same reason that, charms get played, kind of in the past, charms have always had these kind of like minor effects, but when you tack them all onto one card, then yeah. I think one of these effects is something that you're going to need specifically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think
Exile Kataki. I'm still just coming up with things.
Yeah, I don't think it's terrible. I think it's just it's...
Well, so we have Dave when they don't think it's terrible. I'm on the complete opposite side. Okay.
Yeah.
I have no idea. That's what I'm going to say about this card.
Yeah,
I think this card's great.
This card's kind of out there. I have been wondering if it could fit in like standard ramp in some facet, and I don't know if it does or if it doesn't, but it's certainly an interesting one, and for Green Red Eldrazi, it seems like a potentially a sideboard card. Maybe main deck, but I like sideboard. Because like you could theoretically bring it in the mirror, right, and counter like their first ram spell, which seems pretty sweet.
You can kill the Jotty offshoot.
You can kill their offshoot theoretically, and also ramps you ahead of them because you can make that one Eldrazi and have like an early ramp into an early pilgrimage and like get, if you're on the draw, like catch up.
Or it gives you that surprise factor. So they thought, okay, next turn he has 6 mana. Now he could play a 2 mana land, so he's only going to have 8, or he's only going to have 9. He's not going to be able to cast Ulamog, and then you cast this.
I could definitely see the standard ramp decks like it being all about Worldbreaker, like who gets to Worldbreaker first, and obviously if you're on the play, but like if you're able to go like turn 2, like end of turn, I'll put a 1/1 into play, and then I'll be able to cast Hedron Archive or something like that before you, or I get to play what's the double Rainbow Growth card that I'm thinking?
Explosive Vegetation.
Yeah, Explosive Vegetation on turn 3. It could be a way for you to kind of take the initiative back.
Or just like counter your Nissa's Pilgrimage and then cast my own.
Right,
and then you're just turning the tables. It's the same thing. So yeah, that's where like I see a lot of applications in this card. It also like counters like some awesome stuff in standard, like Painful Truths, which is a pretty good card to counter from
Treasure Cruise.
Yeah, Treasure Cruise.
And like ramp decks, I guess you might have a few more ways to kill a Jace, but ramp decks traditionally don't have a lot of ways to kill a Jace.
Right.
And this is a nice, clean answer to a Jace. So
yeah. Also, like point out, that's an Eldrazi dog. All right, can we all agree that's Dog Drazi?
Ghostbusters did it.
All right. Yay! Now we're on to
so we're not going to talk about the equipment because I think there's at least one equipment that's really playable. That equipment is Bonesaw. You better be ready for Bonesaw. Because when you play against Bonesaw, it's just you and Bonesaw. 3 minutes of playtime. Just wanted to do it. Thank you. Keller wrote that in.
All right, so Corrupted Crossroads, the land taps for colorless, or you can pay 1 life and tap it to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Easy 4 of in the black-red colorless Eldrazi deck.
Yeah. It is important to know that you can only...
you can only spend that mana... I'm sorry, you're right. You can only spend that mana on spells with the Void.
Yeah.
So you can only use your colored mana on colorless spells. No, wait. You can only use your colored mana on spells that have... Oh,
It's probably one of
it's Eldrazi. It's weird, that thing.
Probably one of the weirdest lands I've ever seen.
Yeah,
It's such an odd design. Like, it seems, I think when we first saw this card spoiled, because it was in that first batch of spoilers, we were like, is it the translation? Is that right? But now seeing the set in context, it was probably very necessary to allow any of those decks to exist.
Oh, absolutely. Very weird design, very perfect in that deck.
The thing I love about this card is, like, if you take off that last sentence, it's just completely busted.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, cool, this is like Mana Confluence that could tap it. There's that colorless.
Grand Coliseum.
Yeah,
but that came into play tapped.
Yeah, but that was the one. That was the design that everyone would have wanted, right? That adds a colorless and taps her a colored mana.
Yep.
Next up, we have Crumbling Vestige. We talked a little bit. It enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, and then it taps for colorless. This is another card that, having seen it play, seems like it's really, really important.
Yeah, I thought this was just like a limited fixer. I would never see it in standard.
Card.
Man, this card's great.
Yeah, it lets you play your colored spells early in in these dual sort of like Eldrazi decks, and then play like your Thought-Knot Seer afterwards.
Yeah.
So
it says it into the battlefield tapped. It doesn't.
It doesn't.
You just get that. You just get that mana, any color, whatever you want.
So it's this card seems like when I first saw this card, I agreed. I thought limited. This card I think is much more pushed into great and necessary.
No, I've been playing this card and it's just like, oh, okay, so that's what this card does, and it just works. So yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Am I up on this one?
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. You get the
I think it should just be
Quagmire.
Hissing Quagmire. So we mentioned this one earlier. It's the black-green manland. Enters the battlefield tapped. Adds black or green. Has one black-green Hissing Quagmire becomes a 2/2 black and green elemental creature with death touch until end of turn. Still land. So it's as far as manland goes, it's not very exciting. 2/2 death touch. It's basically going to trade off a bunch of times, but sometimes it's all you need. Sometimes just a threat of activating this and blocking will keep them from attacking.
Yeah. It's in that color combination we didn't want a good mainland in.
Right. Yeah.
We certainly didn't need it.
This is about as good as it could have been.
Yeah, we got one that's perfectly playable, and I think that's totally fine.
Yeah. I agree.
So it'll get
All right.
played.
Next up we have... Are we done with that, right?
Yeah.
Next up we have Mirror Pool. Enters the battlefield tapped. Tapped out of colorless. You can pay 2 generic, 1 colorless, tap, sacrifice this, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. It's important. You can choose new targets. 4 generic and a colorless, tap, sack this. Put a token on the battlefield that's a copy of target creature you control. I think I've come down on this card a little bit because I think the you control is probably too restrictive. I think it'd be great if you can copy your opponent's Dig Through Time and your opponent's Thought-Knot Seer. But being that you have to have it, this is going to be too much for
Definitely had an opponent struggling to try and copy my Treasure Cruise for like 3 or 4 minutes of solid clock time before they realized they just weren't allowed to. I like this card a lot. Like, man, there's so much utility, but I think compared to all these other colorless lands, like entering the battlefield tapped for this card is a huge drawback for the deck that really wants those effects. It's definitely powerful, but when you compare it to our City of Brass variant or the one we'll get to that might let you draw cards, I think Mirror Pool gets sort of left behind.
I
Casual
think this
All-Star?
ends up being a great casual card.
Yeah, Casual All-Star.
That's it.
I think I know Patrick Chapin wrote about Eldrazi decks today on Star City Games, and he had one kind of experimental list that he had that was just completely colorless. There were no colored mana in the whole thing. So if you're playing something like that, Mirror Pool's kind of a free roll. It still comes with play taps, which is a drawback. But when you don't have any colored requirements whatsoever, I mean, it's not a legendary land, so you could play 4 of them and not worry about it.
Yeah.
So you know, if you're going all the way on that side of the spectrum, then I think it's fine. Like, it's exciting. It's still maybe
you
hard
yourself are going to become devoid. Well,
yes.
I don't even know if it's good there. You don't have any good spells.
That's
to copy.
exactly what I was going to say. You have no spells to copy.
You might play. Yeah, that's
you have that
true.
one, and then the other one.
Yeah, and the other one.
You have Spatial Contortion. You have Loping Whale.
I mean, even if you're just using it for copying, you can copy a Reality Smasher.
Yeah, but at 6 mana, you know what I mean? Which is good. Don't get me wrong; it's a good effect, but it's just, I don't know.
It feels like just if it sees play in Standard, it's like a one of those. Yeah. Cards you want every 5 games type of thing.
I'm sure there's going to be scenarios where the card is great, but it does feel like when I first saw this, I think it felt like it was a free roll too. Like, oh man, this is your colors, but now I'm like, I don't know. All right, I get the terrible man land.
Oh, this one's good.
You deserve it.
The Needle Spires?
It's good.
Oh, okay. Do you want it?
No, just go.
It enters the battlefield tapped, obviously, adds red or white to your mana pool, and for red and white and 2 generic, it becomes a 2/1 red and white elemental creature with double strike until the turn. It's still a land. Out of all the 5 mana lands we've gotten, this is the one I think I feel the least excited about, but I also do feel like, this color combination, much like both blue-red and black-green, was really tricky because you're in a color combination that really wants an aggressive man land, and you can't make it too good.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about like just from Cube and from playing it even back in the day, like Guido Encampment, like the red that becomes for 2 mana becomes a 2/1 first strike. It's probably too good for Standard. The card's very, very good, so it had to be something that was 4, but also something that's powerful enough that in the right scenario, like your land hitting for 4 damage out of a red-white deck is a scary idea, but it's also the color combination that can afford to play the least tapped lands, so it's a struggle.
Come on, man! You would have jammed 4 of these in Big Boros.
No, I don't think I would have actually. That deck played 1 tap land. It was 1 gate, so I played 1 of them. You had Mutavault in that format. You're playing all of the Mutavaults where you play 1 of this card. Every time. Because one of those is really, really good, the other one's fine.
I would have just played more lands and then jammed some more of these in there.
Oh, that's why I wanted to open with that deck. I can't help myself. I'm a bad person.
So... something that's interesting to note is this is also one of the harder to place color combinations a lot of the time. Like red white is fine, but it's just that and it's hard because even you have Jeskai in Standard. It's like but you also have a much better man land now that just got printed in the set, which makes it really awkward. So the only time that you'd really see this is if you're playing like Naya. And you want that, or if you're just playing straight red-white. So that's why this card, I think, is underloved. It is important to note that it does combo pretty well with Gideon emblems.
Yeah,
that makes it pretty good.
I was going to mention that. Yeah.
So that's an upside for it. Or any so if you have this card in limited, it's pretty good with all your awakened spells. Just so you know.
Yeah.
Because making a giant double striker, it's pretty all right. But I think this card is it's hard to place. Sort of what Mike was saying. It's hard to craft this so it's cheap to activate and still be good. And it's just there's just not an archetype around that really wants it. You really would have to make a red-white deck that wants this kind of effect. I think.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a deck where this is a 4 of in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Not like a Shaman event where you just tab all 4 of them.
If for some reason Crumble to Dust becomes sick tech against Jeskai to get rid of their fumaroles, then maybe you want to play one of these.
I do think that this one is more exciting than the Hissing Quagmire. However, Hissing Quagmire will see much more play just because it's in a color combination.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
More wants that. So I get what you're saying there. I like that you mentioned the Gideon emblems. I think that's going to be if that's going to be a thing. Also, if Jeskai Ascendancy ever makes a comeback and you're able to, activate this and maybe cast a few instants.
And then you can make it unblockable, Mike.
It's true, but I still think Fumarole is the better one for that because it casts more of your cantrips. Now, you could play a white-red version that wants Defiant Strike over Slip, but then it's not unblockable, so that's where it's awkward.
I'm just thinking of ways to pump it up. I mean, Titan Strength.
No, trust me. I've been trying out a one-of in the Jeskai deck, and I haven't gotten to 10 someone yet, but I really want to. I really want to 10 somebody. Just be oh, you're tapped out with no things that have this man land? Oh, well, you're dead. But it's still just I just want to draw Fumarole. I want to draw that, so...
All right. Next on the list, Ruins of Orin Reef. It's a colorless land. It comes into play, or enters battlefield tapped. Has tap to add a colorless to your mana pool, and it also has another ability, tap, put a +1/+1 counter on target colorless creature that entered the battlefield this turn. So this is obviously a play on the original Oran Reef Vasswood, which came out in the original Zendikar, which was green. The main difference on this one...
What happened to all the trees?
The main difference on this one is they ruined it.
Yeah. So this one, I guess the key difference between this and the original Oran Reef is this one says put a +1/+1 counter on target colorless creature that entered the battlefield, whereas the original Oran Reef just put a +1/+1 counter on all green creatures that entered the battlefield this turn.
Basically went from insane with Hangerback Walker to okay with Hangerback Walker.
Yeah.
By insane, I mean, well, I guess my Hangerback Walker died. I'll make all these 2/2 Thopters.
Yeah.
Well, now you only get one 2/2 Thopter.
So if you're playing an Eldrazi aggro deck, I think this is much better in that style of deck than something like Mirror Pool. Like Mirror Pool is it's a lot more unwieldy, whereas this one it's just tap to activate the ability. The effect is much less impactful.
But you get to use it probably more times than
you
ever.
get to use it more times. And again, this one's not legendary, so if you have multiples of these in play, you can, cast your Thought Knots here. Oh, look, I just have these Oran Reefs laying around that I'm not going to use this turn anyway. Okay, let's make this a 5/5 or a 6/6.
And these get gross in multiples, for sure.
Right.
Because where I see this is like the colorless aggro deck, and it's just like the later you go, like your piddly creatures that you have just get bigger and bigger now, and they have more versatility. So like this is a good land.
I think that it's easy to look at this land and just be underwhelmed by it and say like, oh, that's really not going to impact the game. But I think if you play with it, like you'll see that it is a powerful effect, even though it doesn't look like it.
Yep.
Next up, we have Seagate Wreckage. Land tap to add a colorless. 2 generic, 1 colorless tap, draw a card.
That sounds great.
Yeah,
That's it.
Wow.
Wow, good. That's pretty awesome.
Activate this ability only if you have no cards in hand.
Oh,
What happened?
That's less good.
Still good.
See, I'm still good. Yeah, I really like this. I like this land a lot. It's going to come down. How many sources do you need to be able to activate this? Because this doesn't count as your source unless you're playing multiples, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like this could be the one that like a 2-color control deck plays 4 of this as their colorless source, and if you have pain lands as well, depending on how that goes.
Yep.
So,
So you're talking 8 sources is all you need?
yes,
Okay.
I don't think you need that many because you're not activating this card until
Till late?
if it's in a control style deck, not until very late, and possibly not at all. I think that's one of the keys to this card. Is like I've yet to see it be activated in all the testing. I've seen it in play a lot.
I've activated it once.
At once, okay, but I think that's fine with a card like this. Like if once we talked about Mirror Pool, like maybe once every 5 games, like you'll get to use it, it might be okay. But if this card, if once every couple of games you're drawing a card, I think like you're much more excited about that because your investment was far lower.
So imagine if this land said instead of tap to add colorless, it said like tap to add black, and then the ability had like 2 and a black, draw a card. Would that like change your perception on how good this is?
Probably, but I don't know.
Because it's almost like like if it's just like tap to add a black, didn't come into play tapped or anything like that. It's basically just like a swamp, right?
So your point is this is better than just waste? This is like strictly better than waste? Is that
Right.
what
I mean,
you're
it can't be searched out. This is like, there are very few scenarios where waste would be better.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's a scenario.
I think it's
I'm
what he's
missing the
trying to
connection.
Yeah. I was getting
Because we're just adding random colors to this. If this said tap to add blue, 2 blue, draw a card if you're empty. Yeah, that card's a lot better than this one.
Right. So I mean, but it's not like that much worse, right? I mean, you can if you don't need that many lands.
If you were in the market for a waste, for colorless mana, then you might turn. You're probably turning here for the first 4, unless you're trying to play, they ruin the lawn or whatever that card is.
Yeah,
then you ruin the lawn.
God dang, Eldrazi.
So you see the signs?
So you think
grass?
So you think Dex will be playing 4 of these?
I'm not saying that's for sure, but I think you easily could play 4 of these. I'm saying there's a lot of decks that could they could devote 2 to 4 colorless sources without too much of an issue, and this is definitely coming in before most other things in a lot of decks.
Okay.
I think an exciting thing that will probably never happen is if you have 2 of these and play in like 8 lands. You could activate one and then in response
then you
activate
just
the
say,
other one.
"It's time."
So I think you're playing this if you're playing the colorless Eldrazi deck and you're aggressive.
Oh yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I think in that case, though, you're probably only playing one
Sure.
because you need so much more fixing for your other spells to come in line. You need 4 Crumbling Vestige. You need 4 Corrupted Crossroads. You need multiple ways to get black and red mana.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this, like I could see, again, 2 to 4 is I think the number we're looking at of this slotting into like the Hoagland black-white deck right now. That's already playing 4 caves. They can play this card and wants more sources of card advantage. And it is not so color intensive that you couldn't get away with this and be fine.
Yeah.
And maybe you never draw the colorless card to activate it. Most of the games you won't draw the second colorless source to activate it. You probably couldn't have activated it. So. Yeah. I think it's exciting because I think it's just such a good design that, like, hey, when it comes up, you're going to feel great, and otherwise, it's not really going to hurt you that much. All right, we're home stretch here, guys. I get the other manland apparently. Wandering Fumarole.
And you really did get like all the best cards.
Yeah, it's because they're drawn to me. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know.
There's a cantrip pun there somewhere.
We'll go ahead and like slip through these jokes and draw a card.
Can we expedite this process, please?
Mike, you're way too defiant.
I didn't strike myself that way. Anyways, back to my card ascendancy. Wandering Fumarole enters the battlefield tapped, adds for blue-red. For 2 colorless and blue-red, it becomes a 1/4 elemental, red-blue-red elemental with 0 switch this creature's power and toughness on the turn. We talked about this a fair amount. Honestly, as I've gotten to play with it, it's great. Most of the time, it's blocking things well. It can attack when you want it to. And sometimes it hits for 4, and that's pretty strong. So definitely have used that and like slip through to kill like a number of planeswalkers too on turns where like they were like setting up to be like stabilized the next turn, and now you've just like reached board parity again. You're like, yeah, good job, land.
I think we need to discuss on how to kill this card. If it's so the way to kill this card is after they have
let's do an example.
Yeah, so make it a 1/4.
I made it a 1/4. I'm gonna activate it.
That is when you need to deal damage to it. You can't let it switch to a 4/1. If you've already let it switch to a 4/1, at that point it's too late because you're going to put your burn spell at it, and they're just going to switch it back to their 1/4. That results first. You've dealt 2 or 3 damage to a 1/4. But if it's a 4/1, you deal 2 or 3 damage to it. They can't even switch it. I had an opponent do this. They tried to switch it again, try to get the double switch, but it just doesn't matter because it dies after that first switch.
Yeah, it becomes the 4/1. Yeah. So, good point. I think this card is solid. We talked about this before. It seemed like good space for where blue-red could be. I think it's stronger than we thought it was. I think we were all sort of terrified that blue-red was going to get some pathetic, just awful, like 1/1 with no evasion that looted.
Well, and some people were terrified that blue-red might get too good of a card because anything is too good.
And that's the opposite side of it too. Much like black-green, like this is the color. When you look at modern, especially, this is the color that didn't have a land like this that could really. And I think does Twin play this card? I think they definitely do.
Yeah.
But I also don't think it's going to break any. I don't think it breaks the format.
It adds a weird dynamic to that mirror because you have to tap five lands to be able to attack with this.
Absolutely.
In that mirror, and then that could set you up for some trouble.
Yeah, for Twin, it lets you just play that normal control game.
Yeah. It allows you to do that a lot better than you could previously.
It also gives you a good out too, especially in those Jund matchups where like a Liliana like sort of puts you both at 0 resources. Well, now you have a land that that gets you back into it that you just didn't have access to before. So there's scenarios where I think like that makes them have to change their line with a Liliana, whereas before they could just go like once it's landed. They could just start attacking your hand, and they don't care if they have any cards in hand. They're eventually going to draw their Goyf. They just want to keep you from having anything. So,
I think this is going to be really good at murdering planeswalkers in all formats. Like, having one of these in place, so you have one of these and like 3 other lands, and like I don't know, they play a Gideon and make a 2/2 pass, and you're like end of turn, Fiery Impulse your guy, on tap, play a land, attack your Gideon, that's dead.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Pretty good. Like I could see that coming up all the time. So I mean, this is gonna be sweet.
Do you know what card doesn't care about its power toughness switching. Warping Whale. We did it. Get out of here. You're exiled. I don't care. Get out of here.
Yep, you're right.
You did it. Can we be done now?
No, more Warping Whale talk.
No, I'm like, now all I can think of is an actual whale that is just warping around. Thank you. Anyway.
This is like a bad Mega Man boss.
Wait, we had one more card on the list.
We do have waste.
Okay, we're done.
Yeah, do we have to talk? I don't think we have to talk about waste.
Waste. It's a basic land. You can get it with Evolving Wilds.
And it, yeah,
There's
text box is Wingding.
There are a lot
Those
less
are like
cards
poop.
that actually matter for it than we thought they were going to be.
Correct.
Yeah.
You probably don't ever have to play a waste in your deck ever. Congratulations, Wizards. You did it.
You unlimited.
Unlimited, you will.
Oh, yeah. You have to
Great.
draft these,
And then you
though.
have to draft them.
So congratulations, Wizards. You did it.
So, how many foil ones of these are going to the cube?
Oh yeah,
Probably
yeah,
more than
we should
I
mention
want.
that.
Probably more than
I'll have to
want.
counterfeit them for a while or something.
I
mean, proxy.
That's the same
It's-
difference,
yeah,
man.
same thing. I don't
Same
know.
difference, man.
So
I thought you just said the same thing twice. I don't know.
So I think we opted to not do our normal 5 rankings, especially since some of the cards in the set were super powerful. But I think it'd be, Dave mentioned a sleeper. Do we all have sleepers?
I haven't thought about it.
Oh, well,
And then we do favorite cards. Kozilek, Warping Whale. I'm done.
oh wow, favorite cards, man.
World Breaker.
Yeah,
Is an
there you
easy
go,
one
Dave.
for me.
Fumarole and Chandra.
Jorian, Rune Diver, and Thought Not Seer. I like Fumarole too, though.
So
And you like Storm
Obviously.
Chaser Mage.
It's not one of my favorites.
I think my sleeper actually, if I was going to name is actually going to be the Slip Through Space though. And that card is going to see it play in a ton of decks in Standard. So, yeah, slipping through spaces. Like, there's no way you can fit in there.
gonna-
Oh, you can.
You're not going to let it slip through the cracks.
Oh, you done tricked me? Done got me good.
Is that a portal gun?
Yeah, I mean, overall, this set has a lot of people hyped, and it's very good that it does, because Wizards has gotten a lot of flack for other things outside of this set. So this is a good bit of press that has kind of come out.
Well, it also follows the set that turned out to not be good.
yeah.
also true.
I was just going to say that, I was so just disappointed with Battle. I just wasn't even excited for that set.
Maybe our hopes were too high. We're going back to Zendikar. It's going to be great. And they kind of just changed the...
I think they also fixed the power level in this set a lot, though.
Yeah.
Again, Battle had they really brought the power level down, which is fine. I get that, and this format's going to be super powerful for a little while with Khan still being in there. So they need to do a reset every now and then. But I think Battle was so underwhelming because it was just so weak. So little of that set has really taken hold of the format. You know what I mean? Outside of the ramp deck, what other new archetypes really exist? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rally existed beforehand, Havzan existed beforehand, Jeskai existed beforehand. All these things existed with just some changes. So this set, maybe it doesn't change all the archetypes yet, but does get you a little more excited for moving forward.
Yeah, I think this set just adds a lot. I mean, I think years from now we'll look back and look at this set as one of the better sets.
That certainly wasn't a waste. Am I right? Am I right?
Well, I mean, they effectively
Guys?
found a way. They found a way to add the quote unquote sixth color,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I think is pretty cool.
All those people that want to have colorless generals now, you can. You can have all the wastes you want.
I mean, you could still do it. It was just hard.
Yeah, well,
There was plenty of Dust Bowls and
now it's
Rashad imports,
Now it's
yeah.
easier. They did it good.
Did you guys give sleepers? I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, we did. We're all pretty sleepy.
All right,
So
mine will
that's
be
probably why.
Crush of Tentacles, just so I have on record.
Oh no, wait, we didn't do sleepers. But thank you.
Wait, what just happened?
You got mouse trapped.
Because Mike did a sleeper, right?
I did. And
I don't think Dave-
mentioned
didn't you do a sleeper?
Yeah, he did it during the show.
Oh, I didn't do a sleeper. So yeah, we did sleepers.
What's going on?
I don't know, man. We've been talking about Magic for almost 4 hours.
Oh, dear Lord, wrap it up.
Yeah. All right. So this weekend we have some pre-releases. Comic Town is having a ton of pre-releases. So most any time that you want to play Magic this weekend, you should be able to and can. They have an awesome prize wall system for some tickets for some additional stuff. They still have traditional payout as well, I believe. But you can get some pretty interesting stuff from their wall, actually. So It's pretty awesome, so do check it out. You can check it out at Comic Town Gaming Center on Facebook, where all the events are housed. So we hope to see you out there over the weekend. We also have we also have the Comic Town 5K Winter Classic that's going to be on January 23rd, and is going to be a standard tournament. That's the first week of Oath of the Gatewatch, and it's definitely something that we also want you guys to come out to. We want this to be a very high attendance event, and it's something that is going to be very exciting. It's you get to play with new cards. And bring those sweet new archetypes or those favorite archetypes of yours to battle out to get 5K. And there's actually a custom playmat that's been commissioned for this event for the top ranking players. I believe it's top 8 or the top 16.
Top 16.
Top 16. So top 16 will get this custom playmat. It's something that you could really really commemorate the event with. So, this is hopefully the first of many Comic Town events to come down the pipeline. But we really need your support for this one, and we hope to see you there. Again, if you want to reach out to us, you can find us at on Twitter. We are at @yourendstep. So at your endstep when you say it out loud. We also have an email, which is @yourendstep@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook. We are you can just do a search for @yourendstep, and we come up, and you can give us a like. Also, we definitely want to let you know that we are on iTunes, so please do feel free to give us a review on there if you will. And that's pretty much everything for this week. We wish you best of luck on your pre-releases. May you open well, and you have a great one. We'll catch you next week. Bye.